Let's have the best 12 months professionally that you've ever had. Not even professionally, but that's what we're going to talk about here. Let's just make it the best 12 months across all bounds, right? Across all different 6 phases of our life. But we're talking about how to build and grow your real estate business over the next 12 months. All right. So I want you to put yourself in a position of an analogy. And this is a fishing analogy. All right. And if you've ever fished, right, you're out there, you've got your pole, you've got your bait, you go out there and you're trying to find that perfect spot where you can find the most fish, right? You're trying to find where you can be the most successful, where you can cast the line out there and get as much results as possible and hopefully big results, right? But let's say you wanted to start a fishing company. And I'm going to put this in parallel to our wholesaling business and to real estate investing in general, because I think it really plays here. All right. So first, you're out there and you have to trade time for money, right? If you don't have the funds to be able to get this ball rolling, to understand, all the processes, to understand where the biggest fish are biting and the best, and where you can get the most and where you can be the most successful. So you're kind of trying a lot of different things yourself and you're trading time for money. And this kind of feels like a job in the beginning. This kind of feels like you're 9 to 5. It kind of feels like, wait a second, I want to be a business owner. I want to be an entrepreneur. I don't want to trade time for money. That is awesome. That is what's different about your brain than anybody else that doesn't want to be an entrepreneur. That is the seed of it, that you don't want to keep trading time for money. That is an absolute fact, right? So what do? Well, yeah, you go out there and you start fishing because you don't have a huge budget. You go out there and you start making calls. You start door knocking. You start sending out postcards. You start, putting out bandit signs. You start doing whatever you can to start see where the fish are biting and where you can find opportunities to feed your family, right? And then all of a sudden what you do is you start finding those spots. You start building the momentum based on your efforts. Based on your efforts. You actually going out there, you having those quality conversations, you going out there and going on the appointments and solving the problems of the people in your community. You're the one out there fishing and finding and reeling in these fish and doing all the hard work, right? And then all of a sudden you build up enough of a success. You know where the fish are. You know that you can consistently get it. And this is when your business starts growing. But the big mistake I think a lot of people make early on is they are trying to grow a business before they've got enough income, before they know the sweet spots where they should be fishing, where they should be bringing in, what is the lures that's going to bring it in? What's the bait that's going to bring in these opportunities, right? You just don't know that yet. If you just jump in and all of a sudden you start hiring people to start doing the fishing for you, and they have less quality bait and they don't know where the fish are, that's the point of putting in the work early in your wholesaling business. I am telling you, that's the first 1,000 conversations that you have with distressed property owners yourself. And you need to take pride in that, because I am telling you this from personal experience and experience from the top wholesalers and real estate investors around the country that I've spoken to, that I squat up with, that I am best friends with. We all look back on that time, that grind, that hustle, that fishing where we're standing out there in the cold by ourselves with our fishing line, looking for those fish with nostalgia. We look at that with respect. We look at that as earning it. We look at that as the pressure that created the diamond. Don't skip that step over the next 12 months. If you're just getting started in this or you're getting that momentum back into your business, you need to put in the work. You need to have a minimum of 1,000 conversations. You're going to trade time for money in the beginning, for sure. But then you're going to build this thing out. Then when you start building your business and bringing on people to do some of these things, and I'm going to break down everything over the next 2 weeks. We got 2 more weeks for this year of this live show. This week, I'm going to go over the first 8 steps in a wholesale deal. And next week, it's going to be the last 9 steps in the wholesale deal. And then it's going to be complete and you're going to see the full process. All right. And this full process is where you plug in different roles as you grow your business. But in the beginning, it's you. In the beginning, it's you, and it should be you. You should find those spots where the fish are. You should understand what bait works the best. You should understand what you need to do to get bigger fish, bigger deals, bigger opportunities, because it is the foundation of growing an incredible business. Look at this right here. This is absolutely the truth here. These are we good here, Matt? We're good. Yeah. Don't trade time for money. This is wealth 101. This is wealth 101. These three things. You figure these three things out, and you've got this down. Number one, don't trade time for money. In the beginning, you have to. In the beginning, you have to earn the right to not trade time for money. You need to build out a system that is consistent and is predictable and is duplicatable. I don't know if that's a word, but don't trade time for money. Number two is make money work for you. Once you do start getting it in, that's when you start investing. That's when that money starts multiplying. That's when that money starts working. That's that passive income, not earned income, not that the amount of value you provide to the marketplace equals your earned income. That's a different thing. This is when all of a sudden you get out of that hamster wheel of having to always constantly put value into your marketplace, into your community, into your business. Now this thing is running. It is a machine, and you make your money work for you through buying assets and building up your business. And the third one is increase your value to the world. You got to always continuously do that, because the world's changing. It's evolving. New people are coming into the world every single day, new situations, new economies. So we have to always increase our value to the world. Got it? Good. There's the fishing analogy for the day. Mike Mahoney, thank you for that. There we go. Here we go. This is step by step. I want to go through this because this is going to break down every single step in a wholesale transaction. And I think that this is really important to go through so that you know all the different, all the trading time for money part. And then once you start building that business, this is where you start plugging in different roles. Your acquisition manager, disposition manager, lead manager, all of these people, all of these roles fit into this, but this is step by step. Number one is you got to find a list. You got to find a list to target. That's it. When we're starting out, if we don't have a huge marketing budget for this business, we have to be proactive. We have to go after properties that are the most likely that we can go and really solve the problem of that seller. And what does that mean? That means that they're distressed, these properties are run down, they need a lot of love, and these are all the lists that we pull, right? We look for those distressed property lists, the tired landlord list, the pre-foreclosures, the probates, the inherited lists. All of these different things. Driving for dollars is huge here. So first we got to find the list to target. Because you don't want, there's certain parts, and you could ask anybody this, there's certain parts of the ocean where you can't fish. There's no fish there. It's only certain parts in the world that there's fish. So you got to target the 6 to 10% of the market that is in distress. That's what we're going after. All right? That is finding the list to target. Number two, you got to make contact with them. At some point, and listen, at some point in your business, when you do start doing marketing and you do have a marketing budget and you're starting to get internet leads and bandit side leads and direct mail leads or whatever else, referrals, you got to make contact with the property owner. You got to have a quality conversation with that property owner. The problem is, what we do is we start building the list and then we start skipping down and we start doing all this due diligence and we start figuring out all these things. Stop. Don't do any due diligence on any properties until you have a conversation with the property owner. It's going to save you so much time and effort. All right, so make contact. Make contact with that property owner, have a quality conversation. And the quality conversation comes down to pre-qualifying that property owner. And we know, if you've never heard me, if you've never seen me before, there's 4 pillars of pre-qualifying every single property owner every single time. Condition of the property, their timeline to sell that property, their motivation to sell that property, or what's their problem, and their price. Okay? So those are the 4 things that we need to do. But what we do is we get so excited. Oh, we just had a conversation with a property owner, and they were nice to us. Oh, my gosh, this is so great. I'm going to make so much. It's going to be so incredible. This is going well. Oh, my real estate business is off and running. I had a good conversation. But you don't pre-qualify. And you realize that they want above retail price for their property that's run down, or they don't want to sell it for a long time, or they just want somebody to come over. They're just kind of bored. They just want somebody to come over and chat with them about real estate. You know, they're not really interested in selling their property, right? So we have to pre-qualify every single time, all right? Next is, this is when you do your due diligence. This is when you find out that big hurdle when we're getting started of, is this a deal or not a deal, right? Is this a deal or not a deal? This is the due diligence. This is learning the value, the after repaired value of the property, ARV, and this is figuring out the MAO, the max allowable offer that you can give them and still make the profit that you're looking to make on these deals. All right? So this is where you're doing your due diligence. Also, really important, make sure that the person that you're speaking to is the actual owner on title. That is so important. All right? It sounds crazy, but sometimes we have conversations with people that go really well and they don't even own the property. They're just kind of the caretakers of the property, or they're the caretakers of the people that own the property. So make sure that you're actually speaking to the decision makers that are on title when you're doing your due diligence. I'm telling you guys, this right here, this whole part, this first 4 steps right here, you get this down, everything goes a lot smoother. You're starting to work with your efforts, that time that you're trading for money in the beginning as you're growing your business. This is critical that you take it in this order. All right? I don't want you to do due diligence on properties that are across the street and you're hoping that you can talk to them at some point. Don't do that. You're just setting yourself, you're just getting creative avoidance. You feel like you're working. You feel like you're polishing your skills or building your skills. But in essence, you're just not doing the actual thing that's going to build it, which is making contact with that property owner. So make contact. Here we go. Due diligence. Due diligence here. I said the first 7. We're going through the first 8. Sorry. Due diligence here. Or I already got due diligence. Due diligence is there. It is the first 7. I wrote this all crazy. Next is lead follow-up. Lead follow-up. Let me change this link. This is bananas. There we go. The lead follow-up here. What is the lead follow? You got to follow up with these leads. They're not very often. You're not just going to talk to somebody one time and they're just going to be like, yeah, here's the price that I want, and you're like, okay, great, boom, and you sign it up. Typically, this takes a process. This takes time. You need to constantly be following up, staying in front of them. Right? This is where acquisition managers really start taking over, is lead follow-up. Make sure that you're in there and you're doing it, and you are, the secret to lead follow-up is do it. Like seriously, just do it. You're not going to lose deals because of excess follow-up. You're going to lose deals because you're not following up enough. All right? This is like a weird little hurdle for a lot of people, weird challenge for a lot of people that constantly do their lead follow-up. They love hunting. They love fishing. They just don't like the follow-up. So make sure this is a critical part. Most of your deals are going to come because of your efforts in the lead follow-up. Next is your offer presentation, right? This is where you've got your offer presentation. This is where you're going on the appointment and you're going to be presenting your offer. You're going out there and you're seeing the property, you're meeting with them. Maybe it's virtually, maybe it's over the phone. But this is where you're putting together your offer presentation when you have them pre-qualified, when you know what their timeline is, when they're ready to make that decision right now, then you do your offer presentation. If you do it too early, you get leveraged. If you do it too late, you get beat out. So the timing of your offer presentation is critical. All right? And then the last one is the contract acceptance. This is when everybody gets excited. This is when somebody committed to doing business with you. It's so incredibly exciting, right? They're going to do business with you. The contract acceptance. Holy cow, I've got the opportunity to do something special here. All right, so those are the first 7 steps of the wholesale process that you really need to look at, take a picture of it, and really understand this whole process here. Do you have your lists? Are you finding ways to make contact with them? Are you qualifying them? Are you doing the due diligence? Am I standing over? Are you doing your lead follow-up, offer presentation, and contract acceptance? All right, there you go. Build up your business. In the beginning, you are going to trade time for money, for sure. All right? There we go. Rafael in the house. Rafael Cortez.
What is happening?
Welcome, welcome, welcome.
I am so happy to be here on another beautiful Wednesday. dropping golden nuggets. You know what? I wanted to mention something that you were talking about. I mean, trading time for money, right?
Yeah.
It does a couple of things. It does keep you on budget, but I think more importantly, it teaches you the right way of doing the business.
Absolutely.
One thing that I always emphasize is the fact that if you're not ready, if you don't go through those 1,000 calls at first, and you don't go through the trench work, by the time you actually get an offer and you have to negotiate, you have no idea what you're doing.
Yep.
There's no rebuttals, no nothing. So it builds that thicker skin that you need to have, as you're going through the process. And I think it's very, very important. I mean, Mike Mahoney's a genius, man. He told me one time, he said this, he's like, you don't have to be an expert at everything. You just got to know enough about something to be dangerous in it. And I'm getting a tattoo of that in my back or something, because I think it's so true, right? It's so true. Yeah, I love it.
Well, listen, it comes down to your education is from the results that you get from the actions that you take. It's not falling into this education loop where you are constantly just researching. I've had more conversations with people that have joined my coaching program that said, I have been in the paralysis by analysis for 5 years, 7 years, 18 months, 12 months, 6 months, right? Same with your students as well.
100%.
I mean, it's absolutely incredible. And then they're finally like, I need to start this. I'm finally at that point. You know what I mean? And it's just starting to take that action. And it's those steps right there. That's the first 7 steps to start taking. But it all starts with that first, find where you're going to go fishing. Find the list that you're going to target and then go after them. Go after them. You have to make contact. You have to have a conversation, a quality conversation. I am telling you, if you're having quality conversations with distressed property owners every single day, you are unstoppable. You cannot lose. It's undefeated. It's undefeated.
100%. Also, finding the list to target. I think if you driving for dollars is so valuable in that space too, because it teaches you about the market that you're in. I mean, for example, we could be living in Phoenix, right, but not necessarily drive the neighborhoods. It doesn't mean that we know the ins and outs of the zip codes and whatnot. When you drive for dollars, if you have the opportunity, you're doing local business, take advantage of that. Drive the areas, go through the houses, look at the ins, look at the outs. It's going to be a short period of time before you're able to look at a zip code and then actually figure out what that costs, because it's in your backyard. So take advantage of that kind of stuff too.
Love it. Love it. Awesome. Welcome everybody to Real Estate Investing Live with Brent Daniels, Mr. TTP. That's me, and our resident genius, Rafael Cortez, Mr. CEO Pulse. And we are here. This show is, the purpose of the show is a few different things. The purpose of the show is, one, community. We need to build community. We need to be surrounded by people doing this business. And I want to build a platform for people to be able to communicate and squat up in the comments for sure. Number 2 is to answer questions with some challenges that you're going through, or maybe comping some properties here live that you're looking at maybe you're not real sure on what to offer. We can do that too. And we have 4 of them. 4 pillars. What? Yeah. Oh, yeah. If you do send in a comp, make sure Alejandra's telling me. If you do send in a comp, come here, Alejandra, real quick. Come here. Look at this. This is great. So Alejandra cut her hair, and so now you've got Dash, grown up Dash, and you got Edna Mole, right? There it is. There it is. There's me, and there's Alejandra. Perfect. Awesome. Get out of here. Get back to work. All right, Alejandra is, she looks at all the comments and questions, and she's the one that puts you up here, so be very nice. Also, we celebrate success here. We celebrate you. We recognize you. We ring the bell. We make sure that you understand that what you're doing in the community is so important, so valuable. And it proves it, and it shows it, because you guys get paid really well. We've had some massive deals shared on this show. So, whatever questions you have, whatever celebrations you want to go through, we are here for you. All right. This is your show more than it is our show. I get the first 20 minutes. Let's be honest. I get the first 20 minutes to kind of soapbox, and then Rafa and I break down and dissect any questions that you have. So without further ado, we're 21 minutes in. Let's rock and roll. Alejandra, Edna Mole. What do we got? That's great. Freedom Trades. Hey, Brent, can you talk about how to fill out an assignment contract, please? Well, we've got an example on TTP Insider, ttpinsider.com. I mean, we've got it in there. I highly suggest that you take it to any of the in-house attorneys at your title company or your closing attorneys if you're a closing attorney state, and just see if there's specific state language that they want to put in there, because it's state by state, right? And have an attorney review it. But really, honestly, don't overthink it. It's got your name. It's got the cash buyer name. It's got what you're going to make on. Now listen, this might be different than other people. Other people do it different ways. What I do is I put the assignment fee up front. I want my cash buyer to know what I'm making now, so that if there's any problems, it's not going to affect the seller later, because I don't want to go and this cash buyer get mad because of what I'm making. It doesn't happen, by the way. It doesn't happen to us. We stand our ground. We provide a really good product and really good and plenty of meat on the bone. So we don't have a problem with the size of our assignments, but we just prefer to disclose it. Where do you disclose it, Raph? Early on, where do you do it?
No, we talk about it with the seller on the paperwork. Though we just have it noted as the difference between the purchase price and then the sale price, because sometimes that changes if there's negotiation and whatnot. So we've had it to the point where we've had to come in and then adjust, and now you have an addendum to that assignment and whatnot. So we just keep it between the verbiage as the difference between the purchase price of the A and B side to the sales price of the B2C side.
Either way.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, either way, it discloses what you're making.
Yeah.
They know if you're at 120 and you're selling at 145, you're making 25.
Yeah, at the end of the day, you want to have that clear conversation with your buyers and let them know, listen, this is what it's looking like. We're gonna end up doing this amount. We'll send you the assignment agreement. So we always disclose. Disclosure is the name of the game in this space. Yeah.
There you go. So Freedom Trades. Don't overthink it. Just fill in the blanks and make sure that you run it by an attorney in your state. And really, it's the title company that really cares. They're the ones that are in charge, or your closing attorney in charge of looking through all of the contract, the purchase agreement, and the assignment, and figuring out where the money goes. So that's their job. So make sure that you are in really good communication with them. But it's not, I mean, you could fumble and stumble and bumble and just tell the title company, hey, listen, I'm buying it. It's on I put it under contract for $210,000. They're paying me $245,000. I just want to make sure that this assignment is clear to you guys that I'm making $35,000. Does it look good? Is there anything you need me to add? No? Yes? Okay, great. Boom. So that's what you want to do. All right? And that's free. That's free. They'll do that for you for free. They want your business. I mean, title companies are, a commodity, so they want to set themselves apart. All right? There you go. And anybody in title and escrow, I don't mean like your services, but the actual insurance and what you do and that type of thing. But the customer services really sets title companies apart. The people do. Horatio. Brent, what if you have everything but price? Is that still considered a lead? Absolutely. Listen, man, if I get the condition and the condition's rough, that's going to be a lead in my pipeline forever until they sell it, or until they literally threaten my people. You know what I mean? They're going to stay in there. They're going to have to sell to a cash buyer at some point if the condition's really rough, because a conventional loan won't lend on properties that need a lot of renovations, a lot of repairs. They just won't take the risk because they don't know the unknowns. And once you open up the walls, what happens? It has to be cash. So if it has to be cash, then, get in line. You know what I mean? Get right there. Try to be there when they're ready to make that decision. Yeah, that's awesome, Mauricio. What are your thoughts on getting contract on whatever price with the contingency on inspection, then coming back and adjust your offer based on what you see? Of course, being transparent about it. Well, it's really interesting. This is what Open Door and OfferPad does. This is exactly what they do. And it's interesting. I mean, I understand why they do it. I think in our business, you're just going to get a lot of cancellations. It's going to be a lot of cancellation. I don't do that. I don't do that whole, lock it up for whatever and then beat them up on price after the inspection period. Some people do that, but it really puts a bad taste in the mouth of the sellers, especially when they have expectations of a certain price and you just beat out everybody else that came in with reasonable offers, and then you end up being less than them. They feel like you cheated them, right? Or you were sneaky, and you never want to be sneaky. I don't think it's a long-term strategy, so I don't use it.
I completely agree, man. It's really not a business, good ethical business strategy to come in and then, in my opinion, right?
If you know you can't pay it.
You come back and then you use it as a tool or a banana in the fruit basket, but it's not, if you have to. If you have to.
By the way, that's starting to take off.
I'm telling you, man. We are
I'm
pushing
more and more. Instead of tool in the toolbox, banana in the fruit basket.
In the fruit basket.
That's right.
But also if you're picking that idea up from like Open Door and these guys, I mean, think about the fact that they have deep pockets, right? They can actually offer more than, even when they come back and renegotiate, they're still at a higher price point. So they get away with that stuff more than we would because of their pockets and the amount they're willing to pay. They still come back and renegotiate and everything. But I think at the end of the day, coming back and using it, you are going to have a lot of cancellations. You are going to have a lot of friction between you and the seller. If there's hiccups at the closing table, they're not going to be willing to work with you on that space. And like, you have to team up with them. This is how it works.
Yeah, and we tell them. I mean, when somebody comes in and they go, "Well, we have an offer pad, we have an Open Door offer," and we say, "Great." Well, what they're going to do is they're going to come in, they're going to do an inspection period, and it's going to be you're going to net far less than what that is based on the condition. Now, if it's a beautiful house, then let them sell to Open Door, offer pad, hedge funds, on the market with an agent, whatever. But we deal with properties that need love. We you know what I mean? And so people want to sell it as is, and I think that it's our duty to make it as smooth as possible for distressed property owners to sell their property. And I think the expectations should be set up front. So that there's not a bunch of disappointment and a bunch of cancellations and a bunch of people complaining about your company to the Better Business Bureau or to the Attorney General or something like that. You know what I mean? So I think that if you go in and you say this is what it's going to be and it's as is and you don't have to put any more and I'm not going to ask you for a reduction, and you go confident and you did your numbers right and you know that you're making a profit, that's great. I think it's weak for people to do that strategy. I think if you build your skills, you don't need to. Can you sell wholesale properties the traditional way? Courtney. I assume you mean like assignments. Can you assign them? In most states, yes, you can just assign them without a license. In the other states, you can assign them with a license. Yeah, absolutely. Unless the contracts specifically say that you can't assign it. Which I see some attorneys throwing that in. If people are represented by attorneys, then you have to do a double close or just close it yourself. But listen, I always think that it is a real strong, after you do 4 or 5 deals, wholesale deals, you can raise funds from people so that you could close on every single deal. And that's really where I want you to get to. I don't think that it should just be assign your whole career. I think that you should be able to close on it and actually be an investor. You turn into an investor once you take title. That's when you turn into an investor, and I want you to be an investor. But to build up your bank account, I understand, and to build your systems and to build your team and to get things going, wholesaling is fantastic. And we still assign a lot of deals, but we've been closing on more deals and putting them out there and fixing them up a little bit more. And you're going to see that trend with a lot of the bigger companies of taking these deals down, cleaning them up a little bit, putting it on the market right now while the inventory is low because the profits are ridiculous and appreciation is ridiculous and inflation is going bananas. So, there's definitely advantage in this specific market. Take these things down, clean them up, put them back on the market. But if you're just getting started, assign them. Build up your bank account. Build up. Get those $10,000, $20,000, $50,000, $70,000 assignment fees. And then start thinking about how you can start keeping these properties or taking them down and selling these properties, or at least double closing on these things. Because I think that, over time, Assignments are going to get squeezed by the National Association of Realtors or the Department of Real Estate. But now it's not. I mean, now people have been assigning contracts in every industry for forever. So unless something comes up, that would be the pivot that you would need to make. But right now, assign it, make as much money as possible, build up a healthy, heavy bank account, and it'll give you more options. Awesome. Antonio. Seller separated from his wife 9 years ago. She is second on title. He doesn't communicate with the family. I found out she passed away July 2020. He doesn't know, no will, trust. What's the next steps? I don't know what second on title means. I mean, if you're on title, you're on title. He doesn't communicate with the family. So it just depends on if he has any ownership. In my opinion, when I hear this, he doesn't have ownership anymore. I mean, maybe if they were separated and not divorced, maybe, right?
Yeah. That one's a little tricky to just kind of.
I would just call the title
out. Yeah, call the title company.
Title company and get a title report pulled and see who's on there.
Yeah. I mean, it really comes down to that kind of stuff. Whenever you have sketchy situations in title, just get the signature on the contract from the best person that you can find, and then push it over to title and escrow. They're going to run the title searches. They're going to go through the whole history chain of, see if there's any breaks in the chain of ownership.
That's a great point. Get it under contract before you start doing all this.
Yeah, absolutely.
Go get
100%.
it under contract, Antonio. Get it over to the title company and see what they say about who's on title.
Yep.
All right? Awesome. Yeah, that's really smart. Instead of, spinning your wheels and getting title to do your favor. Yeah. Awesome. Sydney. Cool pick. I keep losing deals because my price is too high and buyers aren't interested and tell me they paid less a couple years ago. The comps are comparable. Any advice what I need to do to adjust? Yes. You don't have a deal problem, Sydney. You have a buyer problem. If buyers are telling you that they paid different prices 2 years ago, those are the wrong buyers. All right. You need to get on the phone with everybody that is doing active flips right now. Every single real estate agent that's doing active flips right now. Everybody on LinkedIn in your city that says that they are a real estate investor, you need to talk to. Everybody that's in the Facebook groups or RIAs, real estate investor associations or meetup groups, you need to be loud to all of those people. If people are telling you, if an investor is telling you I paid less 2 years ago, come on. I mean, what are we doing? I mean, they're not going to take it serious. They need to source their own deals then. Not, if they're trying to get 2 year ago prices, they're going to be starving. So let's not worry about them. Let's worry about the people that are actually active in the market. Awesome. And by the way, Sydney, there is a cash buyer pack at TTP Insider. Cash buyer pack breaks down how to get the top 100 buyers in your market. Free download. Boom. TTP Insider. All right. Yep, I got it. Second question. How do you handle the objection? Do you have financing in place to close this deal? No, I'm a cash buyer. That's how I handle it. So a couple different things. If that is coming from the seller and you don't have the cash, you need to squat up, Sydney. Find somebody in your market that you have a conversation and say, listen, will you be my bank if I bring you a really ridiculously discounted property? And everybody that has money will tell you yes. And Sydney, if you're in Phoenix, I'm saying yes to you now. All right. Or anybody that's out there in Phoenix. You have a smoking hot deal. We'll do some business. All right. But listen, that's what it is. Squat up with somebody in your market. Right. I mean, early on, that's exactly what I did. Early on, I had people that were interested that heard that I was bidding down at the foreclosure auction with some of my own funds. And then all of a sudden, I have a guy that just sold his company for $20 million, want to give me 3 of that to go buy a bunch of houses to flip because of the reputation, because of the conversation. So now I've got $3 million. It's 2007, 2008, and foreclosures are starting to pop off. And now all of a sudden, I have $3 million. I can go and buy these discounted properties. By 2010, that ended because all the hedge funds came in to the auctions and started buying up all the deals we were doing. But we made incredible returns during those times for our investors, and they were very happy during that time period. But I didn't have $3 million.
I think one of the biggest things to just be aware of, especially when we're launching, right, it's to understand that we have to be resourceful, not necessarily have all the resources in place. Right? Once you get some track record, once you get some momentum going and everything, then it's going to be easier. Yeah. But there's a lot of money out there. Here's what happens too. We're on the track, and I'll speak for myself on this. Starting off, I was thinking about the money, right? I didn't have the money, so I thought nobody had money. But it's far from true. There's people out there with money and they have no idea what to do with the money. So that's where you come in the process. Yeah, think about, approach it from a resourceful standpoint.
I always bring, Sydney, if you've got a deal and and it's a really good deal, start building that relationship with those people so that you have that confidence. Because the problem is what they're looking for, that question doesn't really matter to sellers. They're looking to see if you're confident with your response. And the only way to be totally confident is to not lie and have somebody that will be your financial backer. All right. Addison, Brent, I have a seller who wants to sell and gave the tenants a week to vacate, but they haven't left yet. I've been told he may need a lawyer to do so. How can I crunch this timeline? You need to talk to the tenants. You need to see what's going on there. You need to go by the property and see them face to face or talk to them on the phone, but preferably face to face and just see what's going on. A week is like really short. Usually you get 30 days minimum to get out. I mean, that's Landlord Tenant Act. That's different. States have different laws in place so that people aren't just on the street in a week. You know what I mean? He needs to give them more time to be able to do that. So just have a conversation with them. They might be trying, but maybe they didn't find a place to live yet. Maybe they've got other things going on. Maybe somebody's sick. You never know. Like, go in there with a lot of empathy for those tenants and see what's going on and see if you can help them out. Good. Yep.
Oh, I'm in. Yeah. So, I was just going to add, approach them almost like from a bringing them onto the team, perspective, right? There's always stuff that you can do for them and add value to them as well. They're part of the selling process. Cash for keys is one of them. It's a super common one. Help them out with moving. We've hired out crews and rented moving vans just to help people who can move themselves. Right. And a lot of times that solves the issue.
That's make or break too.
Yeah.
And it helps shorten 100%. That timeline. The number to answer that last sentence there, Addison, is help them out. Yeah. Like, it could be money, it could be helping them move, it could be helping them, connecting them with a leasing agent that helps them find a new place. Just help them out. Just find out what is preventing them from moving. And if they're just like, well, I'm not going to move until I have to, until they kick me out of here, that's a whole different conversation. And so let me know if you talk to them and that's the conversation. I can give you some strategies on that as well. Kristen V. I was getting traction, calls, text, letter. Bro-in-law passed away, and I'm at zero motivation. Well, listen, I assume that's your bro-in-law, and you need time for healing. You don't need time for beating yourself up because you lost traction. That's the important. I mean, family's everything. I mean, family is all that. It is the reason we do that. The reason we do all this thing, right? So what's really important in life is it the calls, the texts, the letters, the leads, the deals? No, it's family. So take the time to grieve. Take the time to heal. Just don't compound the situation by beating yourself up because you're going through a difficult period in your life. It's a period. It's not going to be forever. So whatever your process is for that grieving, go through it and then get through it and support the family and then get back to work. And when you feel that it's right, you feel like you have the energy, the mental energy to not fake it all the time and feel, like you're 60% or 70% or whatever it is. And you're ready to go and be that shining light in the family, that that is helping people move past the tragedy. So, yeah. There you go. Don't beat yourself up. HBI Home Solutions. Come on. Look at this beautiful couple. Closing 4 deals in December, 2 flips, 2 wholesale. Also closing a sub 2 deal in January. That we're wrapping up on the back and wrapping on the back end. Congratulations. Here we go.
Make it rain.
Make it rain. I love it. I love it. Congratulations. Keep it going. Remember, keep the money. Keep the money. You got now. Once you get that money, which way are you gonna go? Am I gonna spend it? You're gonna invest it. And what I would say, you know what I like? You know, there's really 3 things. The third one being debt payoff, but I really find that that's more of an investment. I know that you're not getting a return, but it's not pulling from you. You know what I mean? So I guess you could probably say you could spend it, you can invest it, or you could pay off debts. The last thing that I wanted to do is go towards the interest on consumer debts. So pay off those student loans, pay off those credit cards, pay off your car, pay off any of those things that are really pulling at you, and you're going to feel so light. You're going to feel like you're in, you know, whatever, 5th grade again, you know, when you had all that sparkle in your eyes. And I see these kids at Bo's school, my son's school. He does this little pledge and prayer. They do the Pledge of Allegiance, and he goes to Catholic school, so they do a little prayer. And you see these kids run around, and they're so excited, and everybody's getting, you know, happy with each other, and everybody's having fun. Everybody feels light. It's like right before all the responsibilities of the world like come on you, and everything feels good. That's the way that you're going to feel when you pay off debts that interest is pulling at you every single month. And watch it with the cars. Number one thing in the country is how much you're spending on car payments, car maintenance, and insurance. It's legit. It'll pull you down. So really, don't get over your skis with your cars. Keep it humble. You don't need to have a Mercedes to drive up to a property owner's house. It's actually better if you don't. You know, the first deals that I did, I was driving a Prius in 2012, and it was when I was driving the Prius versus driving, you know, a Lexus or something else. It's just a different vibe. People just feel like you're on their team as opposed to being the big greedy, you know, real estate shark. You know what I mean? You know, you're getting out there and you're going to really, you need profits to pay for this lavish lifestyle. People don't like that.
Yeah, 100%, man.
Right?
The nicer the car is, the less rapport you have with the sellers. Right
oh,
out the gate.
For sure.
These people are in distress.
That's right.
These people are in distress, right?
Now, listen, it's different if you're like a real estate agent or something like that, and you sell luxury homes, and you need that type of thing. That's a whole different thing. But if you're an acquisition manager or you're going out on those appointments and you show up in some ridiculously expensive car, it causes friction.
Yeah, keep it simple. One thing I want to throw out there is it's allocations. One thing that I've learned the hard time, it's allocations, allocating some of those funds, and then consider it not yours. If you get $10,000 in, $50,000, whatever the amount is, I have it as a standing rule to just allocate 30% of that for operating expenses, and then I break down some other stuff for commissions and whatnot, and I take a small fraction of that. But that 30% doesn't change. It goes back into the business for marketing, for expenses. So make sure that you just divide your stuff that way.
Yeah.
And find, you know, allocations are going to be different based on your operation, the people that you have on there, but just keep that in mind. Yeah.
When you were starting out, Raph, did you have a big budget?
Ooh. I think I had about $150.
Really? I mean, because you've been grinding. I mean, you've been doing a lot of different things in your life.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I mean, you've been going and building to the point where you've got this wildly successful business and doing amazing things out there. But it's not like you come from a family of real estate, right?
No.
Like they don't have rental properties you're inheriting and you pull out equity and start your business and all that?
Yeah, no, not at all, not at all. One thing I did do when I started wholesaling though was I didn't want to tap into my other resources to build this up because I didn't know what I was doing.
Right.
I need to learn what I was doing first, and then
Right.
actually go through the trench work to figure things out, and then make it happen. So, if you want to, for lack of a better term, I took the hard way, but I learned throughout the process, and that made me better.
Yeah.
So
Awesome.
yeah.
Love it. So you were out fishing for a while. Oh, yeah. Scott, there he is. 4 deals under contract this week. Close of escrow on 2 of them, 12/22, doing 1 novation that will go retail next week. This is such a great industry. You are absolutely right. Congratulations. Here we go. I love it.
I'm telling you, man, I love these wins.
I love the wins.
Love the wins.
I love it. Guys, listen, put where you are doing business, where you live. Reach out to Scott. Scott's obviously doing amazing things. You want to be around people like this. He wants you to be around because maybe you need help with your first 3, 4, 5 deals, and he can joint venture with it, make a profit for his company, or take one of these things down as a rental, and now he has opportunities. It's a win-win-win across all the boards if you squat up and connect in here. So make sure that you do.
Take advantage of the comments. Drop your guys' contact info out there if you want to team up with somebody else. There's people watching this stuff all the time. I mean, not just on the live, but after it's posted.
After it's done.
So yeah, plant the seed.
Way more reviews after it's done.
Oh yeah.
Sterling, looking good. Can you give an example to use when contacting seller via text campaign? It's all over. You got to be real creative, Sterling. Really super creative all the time. I mean, some people, we've been putting in, just very vague responses, their first name, their last name, how's it going, how's it been, trying to get a response back. And then once that response back comes, then you can start engaging and asking them the real question of whether or not they are interested in considering an offer. It's not as specific, and when they respond, you have to go through a lot more text. But the issue with text campaign, Sterling, is the carriers keep blocking keywords. They just block keywords, so the deliverability keeps going down unless you get creative. I would love, nothing would make me happier than putting up, here's the 50 top text blast scripts to use to be able to get deals. It's been all over the place. We've had deals from where we want to buy the house to something generic to everywhere in between. So you got to play around with it, unfortunately. It's one of those things that takes a lot of attention. That's why, I think it eventually kind of phase out because it's just going to be too labor intensive. You got to change everything up and respond to it all the time. But just get creative and do your best to try to just get them to respond and then ask them the question. Because once they respond to you, the carriers are like, okay, cool. You can text whatever you want the second. But if it's an opening text, then they'll block it if they see the same keywords.
We're up to changing our templates every couple of weeks.
Yeah.
Every couple of weeks, just got to recycle them.
Yeah, you have to. What do you guys? What does yours look like? What is it?
I have a template. If we can send it out. It's actually the latest one. I think we updated that thing last week or something like that.
Right.
Yeah, but if you guys want the template, just reach out.
When you say template, is that script?
Yeah. It's 10 different text messages.
Right.
That we just round
robin.
robin.
But if you give it out, then it blocks it.
It gives people a beginning, right? A lot of times that's where people are having a hard time. Like, should it be a long message? Should it be a short message?
Yeah.
So we are.
How do we get that to people?
Shoot me an email or hit me up on Instagram. Instagram is at Rafael Cortez CEO. If you want to shoot me an email, do rc@thepulsegroup.net.
Love it.
And I'll send you guys the template that we're using right now. And again, it gives a starting point.
Yeah.
And I mean, you just have to get creative with certain words. Instead of house, I mean, we've used dwelling.
Yeah.
In the past.
I know.
In the past,
It's
just
like
to test stuff
you gotta
out.
pull out a thesaurus every week. Yeah. It's pretty nice. All right. Good to see you, Sterling. L, what type of software do you suggest for out-of-state wholesaling? Well, number one, ttpdata.com. That's powered by PropStream, TTP data. That's where you pull all your lists. That's where you're comping the properties. That's where you can look. And literally, it lets you know estimated equity in it, what they owe on the property, who's the actual owner, what is it zoned, all of these things. Every serious real estate investor uses it. The company just sold for $170 million. They have that many users, obviously, and there's a reason for it. It's really, really easy to use and really effective. So make sure that you use that for being able to pull your lists and comp those properties and understand values out of your state. Yeah, that's the number one L for sure. L on Instagram here. Together Divine Change. Absolutely. Yeah, I've done a ton of them, probably over 100 double closes. Early on, though, most of the time when I want to do a double close at this point, I don't do double closes at this point. At this point, I'll just close it and I'll clean out the property and I'll either sell it to a hedge fund or I'll do some rehab and put it right on the market if it's that double close situation. I don't. With my assignment, we assigned 92,000 this year. We've broken that down on this channel. So I'm not worried about the size of the deals and my buyer knowing what I'm making or anything like that. We've got enough of a reputation and we've got enough of a buyer list, to be honest, that if anybody messes with us on what we're making, we don't sell them deals. So, we've done double closes, but rare now, but there'll be more and more. And double closes means you actually come in with the funds, you close it, and then the same day your cash buyer funds it, and you get the difference between the two. It's a solid strategy, especially if you're in those markets and you don't have a real estate license, but you want to wholesale. This is more investing because you got to pull in. This is more like a flip than it is a wholesale because you're not assigning it. And so you close on it, and then your cash buyer closes on it. And I've got a great video breaking down on this channel difference between double close and double escrow. Just literally Brent Daniels, double close, double escrow in the search after the show. Don't mess around. Stick around. We got plenty more stuff that we're going to be able to put into your business in the next hour and 7 minutes. So after the show, go check that out. Chris, look at this. Hello, just closed a $16K deal that took 18 months of follow-up. My challenge is myself and my partner started making cold calls in August. We're currently at 8,000 calls and 0 deals. I have pulled a few listings, but no wholesale deals. Is that typical? Aha. Chris, can you put in here, are you a real estate agent? So, and then I would love to know 8,000 calls. Can somebody on their phone do 8,000 divided by 150? 8,000 divided by 150 is 53 hours of calls. Okay, Chris, I guarantee you, well, whatever. Depending on your pipeline, depending on how many leads you have, you should have at least 2 other deals in there. It's a deal every 20 hours, and it's just follow-up at this point. Follow-up, follow-up, follow-up. And you might have converted some of those deals into listings. Keep it going, brother. Keep it going. 53 hours is great, but 53 hours, and then you probably have a 7% contact rate. So what's 8,000 times 0.07? How many conversations is that? 560 conversations. Keep it going. Get to 1,000. Just push it. And trust me, you've got deals in your pipeline. They just need some time to close. So give it a little bit of time. He said he started in August. Yeah, you need 90 days. August, September, October. There's your consistency. Keep building that in and try to get 15 to 20 hours a week between the two of you. And that'll go faster for you. And, New Jersey is a fantastic market. Ton of opportunities. Ton of older properties that need a lot of love in New Jersey.
Also, Chris, understand that at this point, within the first, if he's 90 days into it, he's stacking the deck.
Yeah.
It's crazy. It feels like there's nothing happening, 100% of the time for the first 3 months.
But he's got a few listings.
Yeah, but he's stacking all those follow-ups, right? Yeah. So it's almost like just adding, pieces on what's that game? The wooden piece game, the Jenga?
Yeah.
Yeah. So, I mean, and then one's going to click and now you're going to have 3 or 4 deals come through the pipeline. It happens.
Yeah.
Like that's really how it works. Yeah.
Yep. Perfect. You got this, Chris. Plus, if you've got a few listings, you're getting paid on that. Maybe you referred those. But as a real estate agent, it is very important if the property needs work, you are not going in there as a real estate agent. You're going in there as a cash buyer. Every time. Take off your realtor hat, fiduciary duty hat, all that. I'm coming in, I'm giving you the offer, the best offer that you can give them. And that's it. There's no other option. I wouldn't go in and say, oh, I could list it here or I could buy it here. People that are in distress, that have a property that needs love, need a solution. They will trade potential equity for speed and convenience. Synatics? What do you got there? Whatever. Okay. Hey, Brent, what is a good workaround in non-disclosure state? Driving for dollars, how can I comp? Yeah, I mean, listen, PropStream. PropStream gives you access to the MLS. Unless you have a license, you can't list things on the MLS, but it gives you the data from the MLS. So you can see all of the things that are active and pending and some of those recorded because they were on the MLS. So in a non-disclosure state, you have to. I mean, PropStream is even more important. So ttpdata.com for sure. Yeah. TTP data, check it out. You get a free trial, and that's where you can pull some information. It's not going to give you everything, but it's going to be a lot better than just shooting in the dark and going with Zillow or Trulia or Redfin or something like that. Yep. Yeah, Ariel, would you recommend wholesaling vacant properties in the hood? Yeah, I mean, here's the thing, Ariel. I want you to go after properties. Typically, we make about 10%. That's what we make. So if these properties are 20,000, the deals are going to be smaller. If these properties are 50,000, they're going to be smaller. I want you to go to properties that are over 200,000, 150 at least. So yes, you could go after those, and it's really they're easier conversations because everybody wants to sell those. Typically, the property owners do. One, they have to be reasonable on price, and two, they're just smaller deals, and there's typically less buyers because, if these properties totally fixed up only go for 80,000 and they need 70,000 worth of work or 60,000 worth of work or 50,000 worth of work, it makes it too tight for them to make any sense of it besides putting it into their portfolio. And most people that want to put properties into their portfolio do not want to clog their system with doing a lot of repairs and running construction crews and picking out flooring and paint colors and fixtures and appliances, right? They just want to buy properties so they can get rent out of it as soon as possible. So the best ones what I would do is this, Ariel, to make sure that there's buyers for this, I would Google turnkey rental properties in your area, find the top turnkey rental companies in your market and have a conversation with them and say, hey, listen, where are you looking? What are you looking for? And how do I find them for them? Find them for you. Because those are the people, they'll go in. There's kind of like an in-between here. What people do, these turnkey guys do, is they buy the properties from you, they fix it up, they put a tenant into it, and then they sell it instead of for $80,000, which the comps say, they sell it for $100,000 to some doctor in Louisiana that has all this, cash laying around from years and years and years of practice, and wants to buy rental properties because they need to depreciate their tax liability every year, so they need more properties, but they also want some cash flow coming in to tell their friends that they're, getting cash from different places. So this happens every single day with highly paid professionals. They don't want to go fix up property, so they buy it from these turnkey rental places. So just ask them what they're looking for and see if they're buying in that area. And if there's no turnkey rental properties in that area, do not go into that area. Who are you going to sell it to? Boom. Alexander, what are some of the best lists to target in 2022 in a competitive market? Number one, driving for dollars. Keep doing it. Keep building it. Ugly properties need to sell at some point. They do. They need to be cleaned up. So that's going to be that's 80% of where people get their first deals. That's where I got my first 20 deals. And it's a really, really, really solid custom list that you put together. From there, I really like going after multifamily. I wouldn't be scared going above those 8plexes and getting after some bigger ones that are kind of more commercial, but there's a ton of buyers for those. But if you're just starting out driving for dollars, you got to do your tired landlord list. You got to do your vacant list. You got to do vacant land, and you got to do your duplex, triplex, fourplexes, tired multifamily owners. That's where you're going after. Some people have been having success going after canceled and expired listings, which is really interesting. Typically, that's you got to go through a lot of those, because a lot of those people, the reason they canceled and expired is because they were way too high and their expectations were way too high. But I've had some people doing some interesting things with those.
We used to go after those. We used to a service called Redx.
Yeah.
REDX. It was good. Give us phone numbers, and you could launch some campaigns off of that stuff. Yep. One thing also to just kind of go back to Alexander's question, it's also think about how you can target those hot small lists in different ways, right? A drive for dollars list, yeah, you're gonna call them all probably in a day or two, right? If you skip trade set and then you go through all those numbers, but you can also hit them if you have a bit of a budget. You can hit them directly with direct mail. You can door knock on those type of properties. So try to be that present at in multiple places for that same seller. Yep. That's what a lot of people are not doing.
Yeah. Yep. Love it. Get him, Alexander. Cool name. Powerful name. Huh? 2 comps? Are we comping today? Oh, really? Okay. Let's see what's going on here. Let me, before we switch over, let me get logged in here. Guys, this is just PropStream in action. If you don't have comps or if you hold on, let me get in there. Sorry, yes. If this might seem like why would he go to the show and go in here? I'm going to just show you how you should be comping properties so that you know values. It's like one of the toughest parts is deal or no deal. So let's see what we got here. We've got asking $40K. Needs a full, of course it's Texas. This is one of those non-disclosure states, so we're going to see what information that they have here. Needs full gut job and exterior repair. Sell before the year end. Vacant for the past 10 years. Well, it's awesome that they're finally making the decision to sell this property. I've got it. Is it Roswell? No, it's Mercedes. Oh, hold on. There it is. Okay, let's take a look at this. So right off the bat, what I like to do is look at the aerial. All right. Is this by anything that's going to really dramatically affect the value? It's in the middle of a subdivision, which is fantastic. That's what we love. Now, listen, if it's on a main street, you just got to take it into consideration. So let's see what the front of this thing looks like. It looks like it's a flat roof. Looks like kind of it's like a Santa Fe style. Oh, yeah, baby. This is great, Horatio. Oh, I love this. Okay, good. So I got an idea of what this is looking like. It's a 2-1, which is really important here. You see this here? It's really important that you understand 2-1. You got to compare 1-bathroom properties with 1-bathroom properties. I'm telling you, there is a huge difference in value between 1 and 2 bathrooms. All right. Let's just take a look. I just kind of want to get a feel for what's going on here. It's 1,000 square feet. Okay. Let's look at the comparables. Now, you're going to see in Texas, PropStream defaults to MLS instead of public record, because the public record is not going to tell you. But you see this here? See how they put prices and amounts? That's the advantage of non-disclosure of PropStream in non-disclosure states. So let's take a look at this. This is perfect. Look at this. You've got 1, 2, 3 comps in the neighborhood here that have sold within the last year, And you've got one that's sold in August. Let's take a look at this. This is a 3-2. It doesn't work. This is a 2-1. This is the one. Interesting. Here's a 25,000 sold in March, and it's probably terrible. Yeah. So I'm going to go neighborhood because I want to pull all the 100 closest properties that are here, and I want to see if there's any other comps that might be better to use. And there's really not. There's not a tremendous amount of comps because they're all past a year. So I'm going to go to these back to the comparable here. I'm real interested. This one here is a 3-2 at 125. I'm curious to see if Turkey Trot, that's hilarious. Turkey Trot is in great from the outside, looks a lot better. Clean property here and a 2-bath, right? So totally fixed up. On this deal, you're probably at 100,000 because you only got 1 bath. You've got decent size, but you got 1 bath. And in this neighborhood, a 3-2 that's the same size went for 125, and it's in decent shape. It's in good shape. It's not the best, but you're going to lose 25 grand because of that bathroom. So I would say between 100 and 110. Now let's take a look at this. Rafael, what do you think is the repair cost for that property? I mean, you saw it, right?
Yeah.
It looks pretty rough.
Yeah, Santa Fe's are also the repairs for Santa Fe style are a little different than regular roofs.
I'm gonna be conservative here and just go. It's gonna ARV at 100,000, okay? And then what we do is we're gonna subtract 6% off the bat. So you're gonna times this by 0.06, and this is gonna be for closing costs and holding costs, realtor fees, whatever. They're not gonna pay that up front, but over the with 2 different transactions, they're going to factor that in. And then here, you're going to subtract $20,000. This is a minimum. If this is under 200,000, you're going to do 20,000 as a minimum of equity that people want once it's fixed up, or the profit. Okay? That's just what it's going to be in here. And then what do you think repairs?
It was 1,000 square feet, right?
Mm-hmm. Will you pull up the breakdown there, Matt?
Yep, 1 second.
Yep. Pull the breakdown, or the
The chart.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we're going to get the repairs here at some point.
20.
Let's just have that locked as a normal one, Matt, for every show.
Still there.
Huh?
Here it is.
Okay. So if you look at this,
20,
you're going
30.
to see, get rid of that. Wow, this is bad, right?
Yeah.
Probably 40K,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah, I'd probably be
Now
doing
listen,
about 30.
I would
35
even
square foot.
probably say, if that flat roof, I would add another 5,000. Every time that there's like a major item, it needs all new electrical, it needs a roof, it needs plumbing, it needs pool equipment, it needs a pool resurface. I always put about 5,000. It's just a good. So you're at 45,000. Can somebody do the math for me here? Well, it's 6,000, 26, 66,000, so 34,000. Is that right? Right? 6,000,
Yep.
26, 66 minus that. Yeah, 34. So you got to be under that. So I would be, to make 10 on it, I would be at 24,000. Boop. That's your price. If they want 40, get them down to 24. You're close. And you can see you got one right here that sold for 25 earlier that year. Pull that up, Matt. Look at this one that sold for 25. There you go. Look at this full gut job. There's your there's your answer.
Ooh, that
Isn't
one's
that
pretty.
nice? Look at that. So that one went corporate owned, and they're going to be doing something to it. Boom. There you go. Awesome. What else? What else we got? Femi, let's do this thing. 321 East Northern
This is an interesting one.
Pueblo. Okay.
Offer, they want 130 and looking to sell next 30 days.
Okay, they want 130 here. I don't know what I'm looking at.
Piece of land.
It is a piece of land? Because it says it's 1,000 square feet. No. The land is 4,300 square feet. It says it's a 2-1, and it says it's commercial. So I need a little bit more information because it's talking about a garage and basement and all sorts of things. Let's see if we can get
Maybe like
Is it
an
in the
aerial
right
shot.
one? Yeah, 321 Northern
probably the
Avenue.
right one.
Let's get this pulled.
Is it multiple parcels?
Let's take a look here. Yeah, I don't know what we're looking at here. It says it's a 2-1, so I need more information here. But if it's just the lot, I mean, yeah, I don't know what this is. We need more information, for sure. Yep.
It looks like it's on a corner lot, right?
Yeah.
Is that what it was? All right, double check the address. Sometimes you'll have two different addresses for the same lot. I've seen it before, where you have one side of the street is
Mm-hmm.
one address, the other side of the street is another address, and it'll take you to a different property and records. So double check that address.
Double check 321 East Northern.
See
Oh,
if-
you're asking him to double check it.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah. See if there's a second address on the other side.
Yeah, I mean, he's got loans on it, so I assume that it's not just vacant land. You know what I mean? They're not going to lend on vacant land unless you're building. Yeah. So, give me some more info. Can you speak more on TLO? I have a property. I've done everything I know to do and can't find the number for the family. Owner is deceased. Austin. Yeah. TLO is TransUnion's brain, essentially. And so they just can kind of spiderweb to all the different family members. And sometimes there's some, sometimes there's not. So you just find property taxes are still being paid by the address on tax assessor is wrong. Okay. Yeah, I mean, I would just go to Fiverr or what's the other one? God, I'm losing it. Upwork. Yeah, thank you. Go to Fiverr or Upwork and just type in TLO services and see if there's some VAs that can run that address for you. And then just say, I need to get everybody that is related to them and all of their phone numbers for this address and for these people.
Another one that I've used in the past, I've had good results with is Spokeo.
Yeah.
Spokeo.com.
Okay.
SPOKEO.
Yep.
.com. Pulls up next of kin, relatives, emails, social media. It pulls up a lot of information sometimes. So it's not 100% of the time, but sometimes.
So Matt, will you share this? Yep. So here it is, Spokeo right here.
Yep.
Boom. There you go. Try plugging it in there. Awesome resource. Man, we're coming up with some good stuff. Seth, thoughts on wholesaling in lesser value areas or bad sides of town? Yeah, Seth. You earn 10%. You earn 10% commission. Or not commission. You earn 10% profits on most of these deals. So it depends on how big of deals you want. I want you to do big deals, Seth. I want you to do massive deals. I want you to do deals that are over $50,000. It's tough to do that if the property's worth $50,000 unless they just sign you over the deed. So, yeah, I mean, it's number one, make sure that you know that there are cash buyers that want that area. And number two is expect that you're going to have more wins, but they're going to be smaller. Me, I want to do less deals and more and bigger deals. That's where the progression is, because then you got to keep more of those profits to put into assets. If you're just making little bits here and there, it feels good, but it's a lot of coordinating a lot of different people and a lot of different personalities and a lot of different communication styles between the seller and the buyer and the title company and the hard money lender or the banker or the partners or whatever it is. And if you're doing 5 of them, but it's equal to 25 grand, and I do 2 deals and it's worth 100 grand, it's a lot less personnel I need, and it's a lot less headache. So you can do it if you want to pad your stats. You know what I mean? Like, You can get more wins on the board, but how's the profitability? That's number one. And I want you to be super, super profitable. All right? Awesome. Black Beauty 70, sure are. Is there investor software that walks you through the wholesale process and includes a CRM? Well, first of all, if you're getting walked through by software, it's going to be really bad because they don't have experience. I mean, it's software companies. The best software companies are software companies. You know what I mean? We do a lot of work with Batch. They do a phenomenal job, and I think the Batch dialer is the only CRM that you need if you're making calls and putting in, you know, what the lists of your follow-up and everything there. So Batch dialer is very powerful because you put in all your phone numbers, all your addresses, and you go. And Black Beauty 70, I would say watch everything on this channel. Everything. Or if you want it organized a little bit easier, that's free, so that it's like a little bit, go to ttpinsider.com. But a software company they're not real estate investors. They're not nitty gritty. They're not going to know how to coach you. They're not going to know how to instruct you. They're going to give you theory behind it, maybe. But I would stick with TTP Insider, this channel, and Batch Dialer for sure. Because the problem is I don't want you getting stuck in the non-income producing activities of messing around in a CRM. When we're starting, we got to go fishing. We got to go find the spots where the fish are at. And that's lead generation. And so if you're constantly having quality conversations with distressed property owners, that's the income producing side of this business. Because everything flows from there. The conversion of those leads into signed agreements, and then whatever exit strategy you want, whether you want to assign it, which is wholesaling it, whether you want to flip it or whether you want to keep it for your rental portfolio. Yep. Awesome. Together Divine Change asks, can wholesales work in commercial in every day? Every day. Yeah, the interesting thing about commercial that Raph and I have really discovered is a lot of it's owner financed. A lot of it's owner financed. You know, once they pay those things off over time, which is a smart plan, really wealthy people, what they do is they put their money into commercial. They get the lease, which is way higher than leases for living, for like residence, for residential. They get way more, and then they pay off the building, and then they start living off that cash flow. And then when they don't want the liability or the headache or the stress or whatever else, they sell it on terms, still make the same amount of cash flow, and they've got a big chunk of change that they can do something else with, because typically there's a good size, 20, 30% down payment. So, yeah, you can put together deals all day long with commercial and multifamilies. The issue with commercial and multifamilies that's different with residential is commercial agents, all they do since the beginning of time is cold call owners of commercial properties and say, hey, listen, are you ready to sell this property? Are you ready to buy another property? What are you doing? They're hustling. They've been doing this forever, right? We're just getting into it over the last few years of calling it, and I think you could build a lot of traction with it. It's really exciting, really exciting. And then the flip side is you have to work with all these brokers because they have all the cash buyers, It's very difficult to just go out and get in touch with a super wealthy person that owns a ton of commercial properties and put these deals in front of them. They're not as ravenous as residential fix and flippers or residential portfolio builders.
Also in commercial, one thing that we're finding out is there's a couple of different ways to structure the deals that are a bit different, right? So we have value add opportunities. Mm-hmm. We as wholesalers look at fix and flip if we're in the residential space, yep. Right? But when it comes to commercial, you have value add in terms of cap rates and revenue, the rents and leases. If a property is not fully rented. It's got, you know, I don't know, 60% occupancy. If you drop another 10% into it of occupancy, now the value of the whole property increases.
Right.
So there's so many different ways of coming about or coming into commercial where you can increase the value of the deal that you already have in place.
Right.
Yeah, but absolutely, like it's wholesalable. We just got one in Tempe. I'm pretty excited about it. So
Awesome.
it's gonna be
What are
sick.
you gonna make?
It's we're still running the numbers on that. It's a little tricky to comp. It's an 8plex, but it's got a commercial unit attached to it, and it's down the street from Mill Avenue.
What?
Yeah, down the
How
street.
much you want for it?
I don't know yet. I don't
What?
know yet. I'm gonna walk it right at noon.
Did you lock it up?
Yeah.
You already locked it up.
Yeah, it's locked up. We have it under contract. I actually have a commercial broker walking the property to give me an opinion of value on that, just because
At what time?
there's no comps. At 12:30, we're gonna be headed over there.
Right after this?
Right after this.
Right
yeah.
after
Oh
this?
yeah. Oh yeah. It just came in.
So we
It-
actually
it-
do this business.
It's absolutely. It's hot like pancakes at IHOP.
Yeah, that's it. All right, awesome. Yeah, go for it. MJ Lopez, I own several properties. How can I stop investors from bothering me? They call and text. Well, get on the do not call list and let them know. Yeah, I mean, just let them know that that you're on the do not call list as soon as they call. But it just depends. I mean, some people ignore that. So I don't know. Best of luck. Yeah, I mean, we all get calls. Yeah. I get calls on properties I don't even own.
I've gotten my own text messages.
Yeah. I mean, if you really want to, turn off your phone. Turn off getting calls from people that you could do it on Apple. You can turn off your phone and only get calls from people that are in your contacts if you want to get extreme with it. Jordan, is this a good time to get into wholesaling if you are new? Yes. Yes. Absolutely. I mean, listen, until there's a time when there's no properties that need renovation, then it'll be a bad time to get into wholesaling. But 12 million vacant homes have been vacant for over a year in the United States. 12 million. I mean, divide that by 50. Divide that by the states. Divide that by, obviously that's silly because there's more properties in different states, but I mean, there's lots of properties in every single state, Jordan. It's all on your ability to have quality conversations with distressed property owners. Yeah. I love that. And that goes back to the fishing analogy of, well, what if it's overfished? What if we're in the ocean. It's literally the ocean. Like, we haven't even scratched the surface. If all of us did 1,000 deals, it still would scratch the surface of properties that need love and renovation and are in distress in the United States. 6 to 10% in your market and wherever you live are in distress. That's over 80,000 properties here in Phoenix. 80,000 in just Phoenix. I do 50 of them. And we're $1.5 million, 6 business.
There's deals out there.
Yeah.
There's always deals out there. And I was going to bring that up because you talked about that last week. I thought it was very interesting. I hadn't seen it from that standpoint. But yeah, $90,000 in a highly competitive market.
Yeah.
You only need 50
Yeah.
of those to have like a killer business that's really profitable.
Fantastic business.
It's doable.
Yep.
It's doable.
Yep.
Jordan, just jump into it.
Jordan, here's the thing. Here's the real question. Do you want to be a real estate entrepreneur? That's it. If you read Rich Dad Poor Dad and your brain melted and it's different now and it reconfigured in this whole I'm going to build wealth through real estate, then yes. If you're like, should I jump into this as opposed to this other thing to make money? Then no, don't do it. You're going to get frustrated and you're going to get distracted by shiny object. But if your true goal is to be a real estate entrepreneur, a real estate investor, to do this full time, you have to start with it. You got to learn the skill of finding and converting discounted properties. Because once you have that, that's the foundation of your real estate investing business. Matt, I'm going to give you a little bit of time here while I talk. Can you pull up that wholesaling is the foundation and the little houses? Wholesaling is the foundation, guys. Finding discounted properties, the skill of finding discounted properties is the foundation of your real estate business. This is the thing that builds wealth long term, is your ability to find these. And you only find them 3 ways: through marketing. And if you have that's when that people are calling you, through referrals, where you build up enough reputation and network where people send you opportunities, like real estate agents or other wholesalers or family members or whatever it is, neighbors, whatever it is. And then you've got being proactive, which is picking up the phone and either calling them or knocking on doors. So check this out. This is it. Discounted properties is the land that you build your structures on, right? Finding discounted properties is the land that you build everything off of. And then you fix and flip, build your portfolio, development. You can develop properties. You can be the bank, be the financing side, and then also get into coaching and mentorship and passing along all of this experience and knowledge that you have and success that you had to the generations that are coming up. And the people that are interested, and the people that are finding this, and the people that just got awoken to the idea that you can live an incredible life as a real estate entrepreneur. Boom. Jared, where would I hire a VA to organize my list that I get from the cities, like fire damage, etc.? Fiverr is good. Upwork is good. Either one of those is a phenomenal resource for VAs. It just depends on if you just want them on little projects like that. Pace Morby has a great company called Start Virtual. You can use a TTP discount code there if you want to get started. If you want somebody that's like more of a fixture in your business, more of, either a 20-hour, 40-hour a week person, Start Virtual. Use that TTP code because we get discounts on everything for you guys. And check that out. There you go. Good question. What? People are asking about wholesalers paying taxes? Yeah. Yes. Well, listen, guys, I mean, I'm certainly not a CPA, but everybody pays taxes. Let me explain something to you. Whether you're alive or dead, you're going to pay taxes. All right? You are going to pay taxes sooner or later. The wealthy just postpone when they pay their taxes. That's it. Or they provide. Listen, this is how the government works. The government goes either this. They go, okay, listen, you're going to go out there and you're going to get a job, a W-2, and you're going to work, and we're going to take a bit of your income, and we're going to put that so that when you can't work anymore, we can help support you with Social Security and Medicaid, Medicare. And we're going to take all that, and then we're going to also fund a bunch of federal stuff that we need, and we're going to fund stuff in your state. But as an employee, we're going to take that first because you have not shown that you are responsible enough to manage your own finances. Okay? And then they go, but wait, we need places for these guys to work. Oh, shit. We can't, they can't all work for us. That's called communism, right? We don't want that. We want a democracy. We want free trade. We want capitalism. So let's support businesses. Let's support those brilliant people that are out there that want to create jobs for other people. And not only that, let's give them benefit for being able to do that. Let's tax them after their expenses, after all the things that they do to grow their business, right? Then we'll tax them after that. And let's give them some loopholes, because we're really not great at developing real estate, and we're really not great at managing real estate, and we're really not great at putting together housing for all the people that are in our country. So let's give some incentives for real estate investors to be able to do all that stuff, commercial, buildings, residential, living, all these things. Let's do all that stuff. Let's give them benefits so that they pay less in taxes if they become real estate investors. So one, the government loves business. They love business because it provides jobs. They want you to have W-2 employees. They want you to be paying into the system and providing opportunities for people to have employment and increase the economy. And then they also go, hey, listen, if you take some of that money, put it in real estate, we'll let you even save more in taxes. Either way, we win, because the people that are living in your property are already paying us taxes because they're employees.
That's got to be the best explanation of how taxes work.
There you go.
I took a ton of notes on that.
There you go. I mean, that's it. So yes, do wholesalers pay taxes? Yes. But if you set up and you are a company and talk to a CPA, talk to somebody, get advice. I'm not that. I'm not giving you this, the advice of how to set any of that stuff up. I can only tell you what we've done. If you we set up an LLC, everything comes in, the expenses go out, the accountant, CPA does what they do, and I pay a ton of taxes every year. I do. And that's just part of it. That's the rent that we pay to live in this country and to have the safety and to have society. And to not worry about people attacking our cities all the time, and worry about clean water, and worry about electricity, and worry about internet, and worry about whatever else, environmental things. So, yeah.
You know that thing I was talking about, allocations earlier? It's also one of the things that every time we get a deal through the door, allocate some funds. Yeah. Operating expenses is one of them. Taxes is another one. It's not my money. I don't touch it. It's not part of the budget. It's not part of the revenue. It's not mine. It's just set aside to go pay it off. So
and Everson, I would set up the discipline, and this is something that I've been really bad about, but something that I am implementing in 2022 based on years and years. Matt, do you mind switching over, please, and stop whispering to your boyfriend? Switching it up. Pay him quarterly. Pay him quarterly. You know what I mean? Pay those taxes quarterly so it's not a huge amount at the end of it. All right? Rich. Hi, Brent. I have a battered seller who wants to sell at a discount in South Florida. How do I get her husband, who is abusive, to leave after we close? Eviction, sheriff, cash for keys. Wow. There's a lot to unpack on there. Are they if they're the only ones on title, then it should get a lot smoother. But if they're both on title and the husband needs to be on board to sell this as well, you gotta go through that drama. But you gotta leave that in the hands of the police. Yeah, I mean, you need to get them to help you out. If there's a situation where there's like physical abuse, you need to go through whatever channels to be able to help that out. You know what I mean? Get them into a place that's safe, help them move on in their life, and help them get away from that situation as fast as possible. So, one, do they want to get away from that position as fast as possible? Two, is the husband on the title? And leave it up to the any of those legal issues. You need to leave it up to the police and an attorney. Hey, Brent, when someone owes on a mortgage and an investor is purchasing the property, does the seller get the money to pay off the mortgage, or does the buyer assume the mortgage? It depends on the deal, but it is typically the buyer is going to pay off that mortgage. It's going to pay off that especially if it's a property that's in rough condition. If the buyer's looking to assume the mortgage like a subject to existing financing, that's a different strategy, and that is more portfolio building. But if they're looking for flips, they're looking to do, get a big chunk of change, big income from their efforts, they'll pay off that mortgage.
Most of the time that's paid out through the closing table. So when the buyer comes in, drops the funds, they liquidate everything. They just make sure there's no liens on the property, if that's the case, unless it's creative financing, like Brent just said.
Yep. Nathan, I closed a $50K deal with a TTP last week and another $98K to close this month in New Jersey. Whoever was in New Jersey talking about congestion in New Jersey, Nathan here is a perfect example. That is 148,000. Nate, woo! Come on. I love it. I love it. There you go. Congratulations. That is absolutely fantastic. $148,000. Talking to people, just picking up the phone, calling people. I'm telling you guys, this isn't a theory. This isn't just something that we're theorizing here. This is real life. Every single day, without a doubt, I know that if my company is having enough conversations, we are going to hit our goals. That's it. That's all I look at. And my job is to make sure that they have enough good conversations with distressed property owners. That's my job at this point. But before, I was fishing. Before, I was the one standing on the banks, putting the bait on there, and the bait is just the words that you say and the skills that you use, and throwing it out there in front and putting it in front of as many distressed property owners, as many fish as possible, until I get them on the hook and pre-qualify them and make sure it's not seaweed, it's an actual fish, and then going after bigger fish. I'm going to stick with this fish analogy for this whole 2 hours, and I'm going to beat it all the way down. It's going to be amazing. Yeah, but it's true. I mean, it really is. I mean, when you're out there and you're going after, and your efforts are pulling in these fish and pulling in these opportunities, pulling in these deals, then what you can do is you start expanding it out and more people are fishing for you. And then all of a sudden, you're not getting to eat the whole fish, but you're getting a good amount and you're getting a lot more. And that's how you build wealth. That's how you start getting enough in your bank account to start buying assets and being a real estate investor. Cool. Ralph, I had a buyer's lender want to see my full original agreement, okay, before agreeing to pay my assignment. How do you handle this? I recommended switching lenders. Please help. Yeah, it happens. And some of the hard money, what all the hard money lender will do, Ralph, is they'll say, okay, this is how much we're willing to lend. Now, typically what they do is they just look at the property and it's an asset based, and they go, okay, based on the property and the condition, we'll lend this amount. And then the buyer has to come in with the rest. So as long as the buyer's willing to come in with the rest, then that's fine. But if the buyer's trying to get like all their funds from the lender, and the lender wants to see your purchase contract, the assignment, the whole thing, and then they're going to determine whether or not they're going to lend on it, it might get a little sticky, right? It might get a little bit tough. So, but listen, you need to have the conversation with your buyer that says, hey, listen, if you can't, if they'll only loan a certain amount, are you able to come up with the rest? I don't care if anybody wants to see any of that stuff. It's not going to stop me from, yeah, great, here it is. What do you think? Oh, I can't get the loan. Okay, great. I'm going to that buyer. You know what I mean? Like, if you see, this is why we build up such a strong, robust cash buyer database. Because if you have options, you're not worried about anything. We're an open book. You want to see our contract? Great. Assignment fee? Great. Title, you want to talk to the title escrow officer? Great. You want to do whatever? Oh, you're an attorney? Fantastic. What questions can we answer? Anything. I don't care, right? If they torpedo the deal for whatever reason, one, they're doing a disservice to this cash buyer, and usually the cash buyer overrules them anyway and does the deal anyway, or I'll just sell it to somebody else. Don't be afraid of any of that stuff if you have a big, robust cash buyer database. Fuego, do you need an LLC to do my first deal if I found a property? No. I mean, listen, an LLC is something between you and your accountant to put together so that you can write off certain expenses. But I wouldn't let that stop you from doing a deal. Heck no. No way. No way. Get that thing going. I mean, even if you have to pay more in taxes on that deal, it's better than none, right?
Yeah, I think it really comes down to some of those technicalities. People like to, use the word or the term. What was it? Creative distractions, creative avoidance.
Yeah.
It's recommended, right, to have an LLC, and you definitely want to have one as you build the business out. But it's not necessarily to get some stuff done right out of the gate. So, I mean, action at the end of the day is the name of the game.
Yep.
And if you have a deal, lock it up.
Yeah.
Put a signature on that contract.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Hey, Brent, I have a shout out for Ross. He's actually one of the Ryan Tribe students. He just sent me a text message from a $30,000 deal.
Yep.
Can we get a bell for Ross? He's watching live right now, and he's in New Jersey.
Oh,
he's
another New Jersey.
Another New Jersey. So I wanted to, what's a what?
How much?
30K.
Woo!
30K.
Ross. Come on, brother.
Oh, yeah. Deals in New Jersey.
That's the advantage of being one of your students. You get the insider track.
Oh,
you know
boom.
What I mean? You don't even have to post it and hope that it gets posted. You just text you. Kyle, Do you have any advice for first-time wholesalers who have limited cash flow? How do you get over the fear of taking the step of putting an offer in? I love this, Kyle. I felt the same way. I think if people were really, really to their bones, to their core, honest, 99% of people would have felt the same exact way or have started the same exact way, Kyle. It starts with one contact at a time. It starts with trying to get to 1,000 conversations with property owners as fast as possible, because that's going to build up your confidence. And what you're going to realize, Kyle, is there's only a certain amount of objections that sellers are going to give you. There's only a certain amount of responses that sellers are going to give you. So one, I would start with going to TTP Insider and downloading the TTP script so that you understand when you ask somebody if they would consider an offer in their property, they only have a certain amount of responses. Yes, no, maybe, how much will you give me, who are you, and how'd you get my number? That's it. You got 6 responses, brother. So if you understand how to respond to those responses, you can feel a lot more confident. Yes, no, maybe, how much will you give me, who are you, and how'd you get my number? Right? Like, that's what you're looking at. So with those 6 responses, learn how to respond to them, and you're going to be able to, that's the scaffolding of your conversation. And then from there, you're looking for 4 things. You're looking for the condition of the property, their timeline to sell that property, their motivation or what's their problem, and then what price do they want. So if you know when you ask people if they would consider an offer, they'll only give you 6 responses if you cold call them or if you knock on their door. And then if you know that you're trying to get 4 things out of them to pre-qualify them, then it comes down to 3 things: the price, the terms, and you. Do they trust you to get the job done? Are the terms something that you both can agree on? Terms meaning, when's it going to close, right? And the price. The terms, who's the title and escrow company? Is it cash? Is it hard money? Is it whatever? All of those things are in there. Price, terms, you. Okay? And go with that. Awesome. That's how you build your confidence. CeeLo. Wish it was a ball. Wish it was. No. Is that CeeLo? No. Is that CeeLo? No. I don't know. Maybe it is. Would you recommend wholesaling until you get the capital to do your own fix and flips, or go straight to a hard money lender? Yeah, I would leverage. I would probably get a business partner. I would not a business partner, but I would get a money partner for sure. I would get somebody that is going to bring in the funds so that you can do that. And the hard money lender's there. Once you have 20% down, a lot of the times, and it depends on what market you're in, sometimes they only require 10% down. But most people are getting hard money, and they get the hard money lender to pay for the construction as well. So build up your wholesaling to capital for sure. And then you can start leveraging if you're comfortable with that. If not, if you want to just take your time with this, then go for it.
Also consider private money before you start paying higher interest on the hard money stuff. Yeah. Reaching out to just people in the network that can help you out and squat up.
Yeah.
Right. That's always an option.
Yep. Awesome. NS, I have an appointment today. I will have to make a 20 to 25K offer, and I'm feeling a little nervous. Any advice on approaching a number so low? Yes. Before you go out on that appointment, you need to get a price out of that property owner, right? If they're like, well, just come out and we'll just do this. Okay, great. But just to let you know, I'm just looking around at what your neighbors are selling for, because that helps determine what we can offer. It looks like your neighbors are selling in similar condition for $20,000 to $25,000. Is that something you would consider? Right? That's the conversation that you need to have before you go out there. Because if you're nervous about it, it means you haven't said that to them. And you say the neighbors are selling for that. You'll find the neighbors selling for that if that's the price that you're going in at. So it's not like you're lying to them. they're there for sure. If within a mile you see that there's properties that are going for 20, 25,000 or have sold. So, and throw that out. Like, you know, the neighbors are doing that. I'm not exactly sure what we can offer you. Is that kind of what you were thinking? No, I was thinking of $95,000. Oh, okay. That's a whole different thing. Like, I want to know all of these things before going on the appointment because I don't want the nerves. I want to know what I'm walking into. If they're there and they're saying $80,000, but you know that this thing needs $40,000 worth of work, and you know that they want to sell it for, well, I just wanted to sell it before the end of the year as a convenience. This isn't a motivated seller. You're wasting your time. So instead of wasting your time, call them up and throw it out and get an idea of the price. And then you say, okay, just so that I'm prepared when I come out this afternoon, if you feel comfortable and confident moving forward, is there anything stopping us from putting together a written agreement? Well, I got to pray about it. I've got to talk to my attorney about it. I have to talk to my real estate agent about it. I got to talk to my sons and daughters. I got to talk to my wife or husband, all of these things. Now you know going into that appointment what to expect. And now you're not just leaving a contract with them right there that they can now leverage for the next 6 months, right? All of these things are important. But great job on getting the appointment. I want you to call them, and I want you to start throwing that out there. Hey, I'm excited to come over today at 2 o'clock. Just to let you know, I've been doing some research since the last time we talked, and it looks like the neighbors in similar condition, similar size to yours are selling around $20,000 to $25,000. Does that sound kind of in the ballpark of what you were looking for?
For the nerves, right? You got to know what to say. I mean, to drop the low anchor number that we're always aiming for. I remember for me it was terrifying at the beginning, knowing that I had to go into, even if the numbers were there, we kind of already had a ballpark and everything. It was still, from a mindset perspective, it was terrifying to think about. One thing I would do. Right before I walked in, I would sit in the car and I would just repeat. I would like play the scene over and over in my head of me dropping that low anchor. Yeah. I mean, I don't know if this is going to work for you, but I would have to be around the $20,000 mark. And then say it again. And then by the time I got in there, it was just already like, I programmed myself for that particular conversation outside of the house. Yeah. And it really helped with the anxiety. It helped with the nerves of having to drop that offer. It's already practiced, is rehearsed. And when you drop it, it's that much more, solid and confident.
Love it.
So,
well, listen, every time we go on an offer presentation, there's 3 offer presentations. Right? There's the offer presentation we do in our mind on the way there. Yeah. There's the offer presentation we actually do. And then there's the offer presentation on the way back that we go, oh, I should have done this. Right? Yeah. The more experience you have, the more that third offer presentation is, that went really well. That went really well. That was good.
Did you used to do something similar to that when you get started?
I would get there 10 to 15 minutes before, and I would mentally prepare. I would go through all the notes. Yeah. I would be listening to the Wholesaling Inc. podcast or something that was, that in the real estate space, or it would be like a Tony Robbins, or it'd be like something inspirational, something that like increased my energy. And then, over and over and over and over, especially when you haven't had a lot of conversations about real estate or anything as an adult, like when you're 22, 23, 24, some of these guys 17, 18, 19, right? You got to practice. It's got to go in your head because your subconscious doesn't know the difference. You're right. So, practice for sure. Jason Harris, what is a good contact ratio for 6-hour cold call session using VAs, and how can you boost the amount of contact per hour? Well, typically about 7%, Jason. It used to be 10%, but it's about 7%. Number one thing is you got to see if your numbers are coming up as spam likely. Are they coming up as spam likely? If they're coming up as spam likely, it's going to be reduced. So you got to change your caller ID number all the time. So always be testing that. If there's a drop in it, it's because of your caller ID number. Number 2 is only go through each list twice. Now, some people go through the list 20 times, but that dramatically reduces. The first time you call through the list is the most likely you're going to get a hold of them. Second time, no. I don't know what it is. I don't know if it's a psychology of people answering phones. Like some people just answer every phone call, like my Aunt Dixie. She answers every phone call. It doesn't matter if it says spam likely. She's going to answer that call because she's a quadruple expressive. She's like, oh my gosh. Somebody's they're about to get it.
And she will have a very solid conversation with that person.
Yeah. Oh yeah. It won't matter. She's going to bring them into her world. She's the best. Yeah. Anyway, so you've got those people that answer no matter what. And that's the first time through. And then the second time through, you get the ones that were doing something at the time. And then third, fourth, fifth, you see a significant drop off. So go through that list twice. Make sure that your caller IDs are nice and crisp. And make sure if you are using VAs that they've got a super, 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 super fast internet. Because most of these calls are coming over voice over IPs or literally through the internet itself. And if there's a pause, people will just hang up. If people are like, hello, and they don't know the number, and then there's like a 2-3 second pause, click. So there you go. Dustin Matthews, Brent, if I get a house locked up, can I just dispo all my deals to Keegley since they have a lot of cash buyers? That's what Pace Morby does. I think every single deal. I mean, that's what a lot of people do. A lot of people bring it straight to Keegley. It just depends on if you want to make the most out of every single deal. If you have the cash buyer database, that's the real asset in your business. That's something that you can actually sell. You're not going to sell your systems and procedures and processes and all of that stuff. You're typically not. You're not going to franchise that or sell that to somebody else because it's just too easy to set up by itself and it's not rocket science. But having that cash buyer database that instead of averaging 10,000 averages 30, then yes. But listen, I know people that all they love doing is hunting for deals. And they bring everything to Keegley or somebody else to dispo them or to 2 or 3 buyers that they love working with. It makes it smooth, makes their lifestyle great. They don't have to worry about it. They just keep going and building up and building up and building up and building up. So, yeah, I mean, it's up to you. You got 2 options. Do you want, the lifestyle and you don't want to build that up and you don't want to focus on that? Great. Bring it to somebody like Keegley. Yeah.
The benefit of doing something like that too is that the transaction coordination, they'll handle like the back end of it for the most part. So you get 60% of the workload off of your back whenever you partner up with somebody. Yeah. So if you're doing anything, a JV with somebody else, and you're still doing the transaction coordination, kind of weigh the pros and cons before between that and somebody else who can come in and do it. Like for example, Keegley.
Yep. Awesome. Tommy Coates, yo Brent, I just want to say thank you guys for the free info. I just ordered 1,000 door hangers, going to hit all the pre-foreclosures and high equity. Any tips on marketing and door knocking? Just do it. I mean, here's what I would suggest, Tommy. A couple different things. One, if you're going to go door knocking, focus on the ugliest properties that are on the street. I wouldn't go and knock every single door. I did that, but I had kind of a dual strategy there where I was licensed so I could list properties as well as be a buyer. If you're just a straight buyer, then go to just the properties that are in rough shape, and you could track that through Deal Machine. I mean, you could go to Deal Machine and with the coupon code TTP, make sure that you use that. But you can use Deal Machine to track where all those distressed properties are, find them, and just knock on those. And that's your route. You know what I mean? That's like, okay, here's my route. Here's the 15 properties I'm going to go to. I'm going to knock on the door. I'm going to put the door hanger on, and that's what I'm going to do. I honestly like actually leaving a sticky pad. I mean, if you have those 1,000 door hangers, then go use them, do what you need to do. But I like doing a little bit more personal where you just write, call me and your name and your phone number and just stick it on the door with like a Post-it note, one of those longer rectangle ones that kind of have lines, and just wait for them to call you back. Right. And set up the phone number on there for their callbacks to something specific so you know they're calling you about real estate. So any tips? Yes. Energy, smile, enthusiasm, and go out there with a servant's heart. Go out there and try to help the people that are in really tough positions. There you go. Scott, we just collected $20,000 on our first deal. Let's go. Come on. Love it. Love it. Scott, congratulations. Look at you. Professional photos. I love it. You look great. Congratulations. Keep it going. Keep it going. Keep it going. Keep it going. Keep that money. Whatever you did, keep that money and rinse and repeat, rinse and repeat, rinse and repeat. Now you should use that $20K assignment as your minimum standard for what you make on your deals going forward, right? Your calculations start with making $20,000 instead of 5 or 10 or 18, 20. Nice.
Actually, $20,000 for the first deal. It's
incredible.
It's a good solid,
incredible
result right there.
Yeah.
Love it.
Just closed $30K deal. New Jersey, although congested, has great deals.
They
Home
are
East.
everywhere.
Yeah, tell me about it. We're in Phoenix. Yeah.
My boy.
There you go.
Bam!
I love it. I love it, guys. Just a little bit of house clean on doing family stuff. So, this week and next week. Obviously, this week we're here now, but next week as well. And then we are going to be live on Pre-Foreclosure Daily at 3 p.m. I think it's at 4, actually, but or 5 p.m. Eastern time.
Yes, but 3 p.m.
Yeah. And join us tomorrow for Millionaire Before 30, obviously. Same time, 10 a.m. Brent, you should get a bigger bell to ring, right? Matt, listen, I'm telling you. I've been trying to get Matt to bring one that just drops down, but I think it'd be too close to the microphone. Maybe we need a big one, like a big just, you know what I mean? Something that's like I have to literally get on type of thing, like a church bell. Could you imagine? That would be so terrible for audio. Aaron's looking at me like, oh my gosh, Brent, you are the worst.
Guys, this is a public announcement. Do not plant those seeds in Brent's brain.
Yeah.
They will grow.
No, you guys have no idea. We just Matt negotiated an incredible deal. We just spent a ridiculous amount on a 10 by 20 foot big screen. It's going to be incredible. Once we build the new studio here in the next 6 to 8 months, it's going to just go crazy. It's going to be awesome. We're going to have the best podcasts. We're going to have the best shows. We're going to, we love this. We love doing this type of thing. Interacting, supporting, whatever it is. I mean, listen, it's 2021, soon to be 2022. There's no mysteries in this business anymore. It's hard work. It's hard work. It's quality conversations. It's building your confidence. It's building your courage. It's building your optimism. It's building all of these things so that you can go out and serve distressed property owners. That's it. And then from there, that will build you a fortune to go let your money work for you. Right here. Right? This whole thing right here. Open up. Oh. Right there. Number 2, make the money work for you. Make the money work for you. God, my handwriting's terrible. Anyway, make the money work for you. That's it. That's the point. Make as much as you can, provide as much value personally as you can, and then invest it smart and then really build wealth. That's what it is. Stop trading time for money once you get to that point where you build it up. But don't think that you can just hire people and it's going to all work out. It won't. You will fail. I'm just telling you. 80% of people do because they try to get into this too fast. If you've not subscribed, make sure that you subscribed right now. That is the end of the show. Bring everybody over here. Come here. Matt, Aaron, Edna, and Rafael Cortez. Guys, we love you. We support you. Join us each week. Make sure that you subscribe. Make sure that you like. Make sure that you share it with your friends. And remember, keep your house clean, protect your health, and increase your value to the world. And you'll live a really, really excellent life. Love you guys. See ya.